I asked our guides to guide us on what are we collectively working on releasing in this moment, and how can we receive more support to release it successfully. And what I felt was some kind of irritation, or like some kind of annoyance, or that like just mild dislike, or like feeling off about like something. So it's just like an irritation. That's what needs to be released right now. Like that's what all of us together are working on, collectively releasing it. Because like when we are like collectively working on something, there is just like a lot of support available, whether we are aware of it or not. Us and I wanted to ask, like I asked, okay, like tell me more, like what is this irritation about? And then I heard was about wanting to say no and not being able to say no in like certain situation. So that's creating like a surface level irritation. So like there's like difference between feeling frustrated or angry or having resentment, versus irritation. So irritation is basically where it all starts, and the moment we start taking note of irritation and start taking action on releasing it, it doesn't manifest into like a deeper level of irritation, which is anger or resentment, or like a lot of different emotions like self-blame. So it like spirals, it has the ability to spiral into like a lot more, if not dealt with when something is at like irritation stage. Yeah, and energetically as well. Energetically, irritation kind of is just like on the surface, like for example like on the skin, and like it exists energetically on like the skin area. And when it deepens, like when it's not addressed at the right time, it like the energy starts accumulating in different organs, and especially like in all our digestive organs like liver, or pancreas, or gallbladder, or like our uterus, like all the anger, resentment, like it starts like accumulating there. So so yeah, so there is some kind of irritation. And I was also told like it's important for us to, although it feels like a lot of work, but like throughout our day, if we can take a note on, okay, in this, just in this moment. So because usually like what happens is we ignore like mild irritations, like we tend to like ignore those, like we feel irritated about something that we wanted to do this but we couldn't, but we just like kind of ignore it. And yeah, so it's important for us to like, first step is to it's important for us to make notes on, okay, like just now I felt this irritation about this and I wanted to do this but I couldn't, or like I couldn't express myself right now, in this moment. Yeah, so like it's more about like expression, like that came across, that I was not able to like say no in this moment, I wanted to do this. And you just like make a note, and then I'll tell you like the next step, like which was amazing, like that the guides team shared about how to release it successfully. So that's that, and I've made some notes as well. So basically like this irritation is about needing to say no but not being able to, or like a part of you is like wanting to be seen, felt, or heard but is not able to in this moment. And or like we like kind of ignore ourselves, right? So basically what we are doing is that we are not in this moment when we are feeling irritated and when we are ignoring that nudge. We are not honoring our truth, like that this is what we wanted, right? That was our truth, and we are ignoring that, not honoring that. And in a way we feel like powerless as well in that moment. So there's like this feeling of being powerless, or like being like overly responsible for others, that comes into play as well. Or when we are not able to like express our needs like firmly, or feel like when like even if we express we are not like being heard, seen, or like understood in that moment, so we have to do it, although we don't want to do it, but we have to do it. So like we come across like multiple moments in our day, especially the highly compassionate old souls, right? It's hard for them to say no, it's hard for us to say no. So like there can be multiple reasons, but our guides team is saying that there is an underlying irritation that we are collectively working to release on. And the first step is to become aware of it. Okay, like what are those moments in that day that we are ignoring that? Like when are we feeling it? Basically, what emotional truth, what truth is trying to come up in those moments? So that's one. And there was something that came up as well, and I completely forgot. Okay, I'll discuss like the second step basically, which is the main step in healing, or in releasing this irritation. Probably like whatever needs, I forgot, like it will come up. So the second step is, so you know how like the, if you think of like the emotional connection that you have for with the divine in this moment, like God, source, or creator, whoever you believe in. So this part of us that is like feeling irritated right now, what it really needs is to feel like this kind of emotional connection with the other parts of ourselves. Because see how like there's one part of us that's like feeling irritated, and there's the other part of us that's like completely ignoring it, or like noticing it but still ignoring it, or is taking action but not firmly. So what this part of us that's feeling irritated, like what will help this part release the energy of irritation is that same connection that we feel. So how do we like, how do I like feel when I think of divine or God or creator? Like how I feel is, I know that I'm really like always, no matter what, I'm loved, cherished, and nurtured and adored and supported by divine. Like no matter what I do, I know that I'm like a part of divine and I'm always loved, like never abandoned by God. I know that, like I'm always there, like God is always there, right? So even if you like close your eyes just for a second, and the energy of irritation will start releasing right now, and you feel like that beautiful emotional connection that you have with divine. And if you have, if you become like that divine itself, right? Like we are all part of divine, like God. And if you become like that God itself for this part of you that's feeling irritated, so that this part feels really adored and loved and felt. Because yes, like what I was forgetting was, because usually what happens is that we are expecting in those moments of irritations, what we do is we expect support from or validation from like externally, right, from outside. But what we are being guided towards a successful release of this irritation is providing this support, this love, this like feeling seen, heard, and understood, like that feeling within ourselves. So create this like within ourselves, because it's not just that like the other people like outside of us are ignoring like what we truly want. What's really happening is like, firstly, there's a part of us that's actually ignoring and is not expressing, or is not expressing firmly like our truth, like this is what I want in this situation. It's easier said than done, I agree. So so basically, it's important for us to, the expectations that we have from people outside, first provide this, what it's actually, what we are actually looking for from people outside ourselves to this part. And that will happen when we, for example, when you are making a note, right? Like, okay, so in this moment, and it happens multiple times a day, and in this moment, like just make a quick note on the phone. In this moment, I wanted to do this, but I couldn't express, and I ended up doing something else. Or I expressed it, but I didn't express it formally, and I ended up like giving up. So write down in that moment, like if you can like really have a honest conversation with this part of you. Okay, so there's a part of me that's feeling really irritated, like what is it that it truly wants right now? And yes, like it would want to do something, right? So for example, I can share like an example, that because everything that I share here, like I do it myself, and then I share. So like my intuitive guidance is always like grounded in research and practical reality in physical life. So for past 10 days I have been like due to some personal commitments, I wasn't able to work on like creating videos on YouTube and basically having like of outward flow of like all the information that I'm getting, the insights that I'm getting. And I was like, a part of me was like really irritated about it. And so what I did was I just kind of like sat with this part of me. And like how I do it is like I do it in my mind, but you can do it like on a piece of paper of like what this part like really wanted to do. And like it came out that this part really wanted to like express right in that moment, like leave everything and like create a video because like I'm getting like downloads and all of that. So I said to this part of myself that yes, like I hear you and I feel you and I like totally understand like how you're feeling, but I also want to appreciate like how amazing like you have been doing like just before this, right? Like just before these 10 days, the like the way I have been like expressing my insights, like I'm really happy with that, like how I'm like not just across like YouTube, but I'm doing on like Instagram as well, and like through multiple channels or through like personal intuitive readings, I have been able to like express, like I've done like so much. So I wanted to remind the spa that hey, like I know that and I totally understand like why you are irritated, but I want to like first like really want to honor like that you have been doing amazingly well, like just before these 10 days, because this part of me was also kind of like feeling irritated of myself, because like why didn't I create like videos in advance for this time, where I knew like I'm gonna have this like these 10 days where I might not be able to work. So I just said to that part of myself, that it's okay, like the kind of progress that I have been making like recently in past few months in terms of like expressing my insights, it's like unbelievably amazing for me. And I just really wanted to like pause in that moment and like just become that God part, right? Of like we are all part of God. And I just wanted to be in that position of divine where like whatever we do, we are always loved, cherished, and like the God always sees, like reminds us that hey, like you did so well, right? Don't forget that. I know you're feeling this, but don't forget that. Like don't, like the God has like the overall picture of what we are doing, and we in the moment like we sometimes might forget, okay, and we are like very narrowed down in like the way we look at ourselves, and we can become like really harsh on ourselves. So I just reminded that hey, like look at the big picture, look at how like you have been doing so well. So I had this like beautiful conversation with a part of me, and it wasn't just a conversation. Like I like this really this part. And so you know, like sometimes how we have like let's say like, because I usually have like emotional conversations with God, and I like tear up, because like there is like so much love and nurture and support that we receive from God, like it just like brings like tears in my eyes. And in that moment I had like same tears in my eyes, where I was feeling like that part of me which was actually really irritated, it started to like release that irritation, and it was feeling the love, like, and I could feel that irritation like releasing in form of my like tears. So yeah, so like so it's not just about like having like a logical conversation, but like what it really like what we really need to embody in order to release this irritation is feeling the opposite of like the emotions that we are feeling. And that emotion is the kind of it's hard to describe the emotional fulfillment we feel when we think of divine, when we think of God, for ourselves, and allowing that part to feel the same by whichever way, like, right, like whatever you need to remind this part of. And you will know like that your irritation is being released. Like for example, I knew that in the form of like the tears. Like I felt like so much love from this part of me, like the part of me that was really like irritated, like it felt so much love from the other part of me, which at some stage like I felt ignored by. Yeah, so embodying like that emotional connection that we have with God within like different parts of us. So that is really going to help release this irritation before, like in the long term, it goes really deep and like it becomes like really dense and goes into like our different organs, or whichever way like it affects our life, right? So like these emotions, they affect our life based on like things that matter to us. So for example, let's say if you have like if you are someone like relationships are really important to you, so like these emotions will somehow like show up in relationships, and you're like, oh okay, like there's something that needs attention, because if my relationships have problem, then I have to like deal with something. So whichever way like these emotions, the intense emotions, and sometimes for example like one might have like a physical illness or something, and they're like, oh my god, like there's something definitely wrong, and I need to like relook at, okay, what can I do, because I don't want to be in this like physical pain or whatever it is. Or it could be through like career. So whichever way, universe can get our attention. It's like always reminding us that, hey, at the moment, the energy you're feeling the energy of irritation, and it's time for you to like work on releasing it, however hard it might look like, or hard work. But I'm pretty sure like if you are on your spiritual awakening journey, you will like love it. Like love working on having these like realizations and having like these conversations with different part of you, like I do, like I love it. um, yeah, so this is the message I received, and I also feel like drawing out some cards from this beautiful deck is called oh, Animal Spirit deck. Because like this deck always reminds me of like whispers from God. So let's see like what messages we have right now. Just a few, not many. Let's see. So like what can we embody, like what energy can we embody to help release the irritation, that the energy of irritation that we are holding right now. And the energy of irritation is also like, you know how it like, it's just like prickles, it like a needle, it prickles under the skin, and it's like a really sweet pain, so it's like easy to ignore at this stage, but it can like take a different form if like we keep ignoring it. So now we are entering into this time where we are being called to take action right now, because it usually takes like around, so whatever issues that we have in our life, right, it takes like around 10 to 15 years to really manifest in our physical reality. So whether it's like a physical illness, or it's like an issue with the relationship, or and even if you're thinking like, okay, my relationship is just 2 years old, but you will notice like a consistent pattern. So it takes like around 10 to 15 years for major things to basically start building up in our life. So yeah, so the guidance is be here now. Yeah, so, and being here now like just reminds me, like it just reminds me of just like really being with this part of us that's feeling irritated, because we tend to ignore, right? Okay, yeah, like I felt that, but let's just like move on, because the irritation is like, it's so subtle, like we just like, it's so easy for us to ignore. So it's important for us to be here now in the present moment, and like really be serious about taking note of, okay, like this is the time when I ignored my emotional truth. Turn knowledge into wisdom. And we can turn knowledge into wisdom is by experiencing it. So for example, like this morning when I got this intuitive nudge, um, and every time I do it, I know that it's for me as well. And I sat with my the part of me that was feeling irritated. So see how like I received this knowledge or this insight or this packet of information from our guides team, and then I like really experienced it. And the way I experienced it, I am now like sharing it with you, like my experience. So I had like all the knowledge about things, and like I've gained like knowledge from my teachers as well on like how healing works. So for example, let's say like that we are feeling this emotion, what is the opposite emotion that can help us like release it, kind of thing. So all that knowledge that I gained, I am now like, it's important for us to experience it to turn it into wisdom. So that's important, being present and experiencing it. And sometimes life stings. Yeah, so sometimes life stings, right? Like, and in fact, like a lot of times. um, and it's important to know that there is like a purpose, and it might seem like spiritual bypassing, right? Like, okay, like there's a purpose in that sting. But there always is, whether you want to believe it or not. We can get curious about it if we don't want to like fully believe it. But like every time, it's important to have like certain kind of like acceptance about, like having an acceptance, like it just like brings us in such a beautiful like calm state of mind. So it's important for us to like have that acceptance, that yes, like this happened, and yes, like I did ignore myself, and not being like really harsh on ourselves for like ignoring it, because we know that we are working on it, right? We are taking that first step towards us. So yeah, so life does things sometimes, and it's important to have that acceptance. Sweet results await, but it's important to know that yes, life does sting, but there's also like sweet results await based on like the choices we make, right? So it's important to be like really present and really absorb the knowledge and the information, because we are in this world right now of so much information, like so much information, right? So whatever like resonates, it's important for us to like in that moment transform it into wisdom by really experiencing it. So that's really important. And as a result, like the sweet results will await for us. They are waiting for us already. All we need to do is like be present, have acceptance, and turn the knowledge into wisdom. I'm going to pull like a few more cards. Overcome any obstacle. So yeah, so we have the ability to overcome any obstacle. There's like, and in those moments it might feel like, oh my god, like I just can't say no to this, like there's like this reasons I can't say no. But we have the personal power in that moment, like that's, so when this nudge comes in where we want to say no, it's important for us to trust that truth of ours, right? And know that we have that personal power, that we can like any obstacle we can like overcome. So in those moments, however hard it may or impossible it might look like, but there is a way out. We can say no, to honor our truth. Lay a solid foundation, and this is what we are doing, right? So this is it's like a foundation that we are building for us. So there's definitely like something big that we are moving towards, and in order to experience that like amazing thing for us. It's important for us to build this foundation where we are like releasing these like energies that are no longer needed, and we are in that position of being able to like say no to when we want to, like using our personal power, because like there's something like sweet result that's awaiting for us, like that big thing that we are laying foundation right now for. So it's important to basically take action on this. Last one, spirit has a plan. So know that spirit has a plan and you are supported. Like there's like a lot of support whether you're aware or not. And it's important for you to know that every time you feel that no and you say yes, or every time you either you blame yourself like why did I do it, every time you're feeling irritated, or you're talking to this part of yourself, or you're making notes on your phone that hey, like this is what happened, or you are like releasing that irritation in terms of each and every time, like spirit is there with you, like your spiritual team for your highest good, your guides, and like there's like so much support available. So there's like always like so much support available. Yeah, so that's the message I received, and I hope it was useful. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you.